Log scales. Okay, let's just revise what logs are. So 10 times 10 equals 100, which equals 10 squared. And you may notice that you've multiplied by 10 twice. That's giving you 2 zeros and giving you a 2 up here. And there's a reason for that, because we're talking about base 10. What do we mean by the base? This thing is the base. And in further maths, you don't have to worry about any other bases than base 10. Up here, we call this thing the power, but you might also call it the index or the exponent. All right, now you may know that if you take 100, you can square root, and that gets you 10, and we could write 10, and then you could do it the same way with just square rooting the square, and then you can see that you're actually doing opposite operations. So square rooting a square, it cancels each other out, and that's why you get the 10. So when you square root, you're getting the base. But what if you wanted to get the power instead? So you can do a thing called log. So we're going to do log. Technically, you're supposed to put a little 10 here. We're going to do log of 10 squared, and that just gives us 2. And it's exactly the same thing as you said, log 10 of 100, that would also get you 2. But it should be worth noting, since log 10 is a very common thing, people just, you just don't need to have that in there. So with the log, we are returning the power. You're going to do a lot more of this with transformations later, but we're just going to look at log scales for now. And here's a little table just summarizing the whole process. So as you can see, look, if you've got 1, 2, 3 10s, you get a 3 here, and you get 3 zeros. And the same thing applies as we go down the scale. Now you might notice a couple of things. So as we go 3, 2, 1, you don't have to write the 1, but the 1 is there. Some people don't like the fact that when you have the power 0, you actually get 1, but you can think about this. You've got 3 zeros, 2 zeros, 1 zero, no zeros. So it does make sense if you're following the pattern. If you were to graph it out, I'm not going to, you would see that as well. And of course, if we've gone from 3 to 1, 0, you get to -1, -2, -3. And so then you actually end up going into decimals. And exactly the same thing. So when you're logging, log of 10 cubed gives you the 3, log of 10 squared gives you the 2, etc., etc. It's a good table to just have noted down. And it's not so hard if we look at some other questions where they might go, ooh, 10 to the power 5, and you'll know how to do that. That's going to be, when you log it, it gets you a 5. And note also, I didn't write the lots of little 10s in here because you don't need them. All right, even on the calculator, you can just write log instead of log 10, and it will know that means log 10. Okay, this is question 3. I think it's from the 2019 exam, and they've got a lovely log scale for us to look at. So there we go, log scale. They put log 10, but again, log is log. And based on this histogram, the number of countries with a population size less than 100,000. Now 100,000, let's count those zeros. If you count them, you get, there's 5 zeros. So we know that that's the 100,000 point, and we want less than, so we're going this way. So if we read this number off here, we get 7, but we've also got to count this guy, read it off here, and we get 1, and 7 plus 1, that is 8, so the answer is D. The important thing to note is that everything to the left of the 5 is what we needed to include there. Again, these log scale questions are very, very common. And so it says the median area of these islands in square kilometers. So you've got to work out the median. Now look what they've done here. They've done the 2, 3, 3, 4 thing, but they want it in square kilometers, not in log square kilometers. So you can actually eliminate those 2 questions already, those 2 answers. So let's have a look at what we need to be thinking about, the median. And it says there are 17 islands. So you've got to do that thing where you go, okay, 17 plus 1 divided by 2, that equals 9. So we want the ninth spot. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So it's here, isn't it? Which means it's between 3 and 4. The 3 and 4 is 3 zeros and 4 zeros. And so it's between 1,000 and 10,000, which means the answer is D. And that's how you work that one out. Don't need to touch a calculator. A little bit tricky because they made you do the median as well. Okay, they like to do these questions a lot with the log scale. This is from 2016. And what they're asking for is the number of countries with one or more billionaires. And so we've got to remind ourselves on the log scale, where is 1? So 10 to the power 0 equals 1. 10 to the power 1 equals 10. Now if we log 10 to the 0 equals 0. And if you log 10 to the 1, it equals 1. The one we want is the one that gives us the number 1, which is on the log scale 0. So what we're actually looking for is this point, and we said that's going to be 1 in real numbers, not log of the numbers, and or more. So we need to add up this one, which is 9, and this one, which is 1. So 9 plus 1 equals 10. The answer is E. So you can imagine a lot of people made a mistake of choosing A, and about 29% of people did. They chose A because they thought 1 was 1, and it's not on a log scale.